What's up, guys? The Snowman here, and congratulations to the 2019 NBA champion Toronto Raptors. Just to clarify, I am not a Raptors fan. I am just a fan of great jerseys, and I have to say this Vince Carter throwback, one of my favorite jerseys of all time. But nonetheless, Raptors taking out the Warriors in 6 games in a just crazy, wonky, ridiculous series in so many ways. This series will affect so many things in the future of the NBA for years to come, but I just wanted to give some rapid-fire thoughts about this. One of the most unlikely titles in NBA history, certainly the last 20, 30 years. The Raps had the 9th best title odds in the preseason, 40-1. They've got just one major star on their team in Kawhi Leonard. We'll talk about him. It's very reminiscent. A lot of people making comparisons to the 2004 Detroit Pistons. One of my favorite stats about the Raptors, 0 lottery picks on this whole roster. So no guys picked in the top 14, but everybody knows their role. So I'm going to start off with the Raptors, then I'll get to some Warriors thoughts in a bit. But let's go through these. They play basically a 7-man rotation throughout the course of the playoffs, and every guy knows their role. It starts with their point guard, Kyle Lowry. So Lowry has been one of the most maligned players since he came to the Raptors from Houston back in 2012. He's had his butt kicked so many times by LeBron in the postseason. He's been labeled a choke artist by many. He's certainly had his playoff duds. Opened up the 2019 postseason with a 0-point performance in a home loss against the Orlando Magic. So I agree, but I'm here to say I believe the Lowry slander should stop now for the rest of time. He is a tenacious dude who just doesn't back down. 26 points, 10 assists, and some big shot making in that clinching Game 6 win, and a team best plus-minus 16. Always the plus-minus king. It's a sad day for the Lowry haters, but I think as a point guard, he's a champion now, and he knows what he does best. And he finally hit some clutch shots. He didn't get it done at the end of Game 5, but he definitely got it done in Game 6. So Lowry is the point for this team, and congrats to him. Danny Green, a star in his role, a true 3-and-D guy who's hit so many clutch shots in the biggest games in NBA history. Didn't have his best shooting series or really playoffs for that matter, but he was a big body on Steph and Klay defensively, fit his role perfectly. I was also extremely impressed with what I saw from Pascal Siakam throughout the regular season and playoffs. He just took an incredible leap this year. Probably bona fide lock for most improved player. 32 points in Game 1, 26 in Game 6. He's kind of like a more athletic Draymond with a more diverse one-on-one offensive skill set. So many ways he can impact a game. And we'll get to Kawhi in a sec, who won the Finals MVP. But the one vote that didn't go to Kawhi was Hubie Brown voted for Fred VanVleet, which is pretty funny. But if anyone stole a vote from Kawhi, it probably should have been Siakam, who dominated offensively, like I said, in both Games 1 and Game 6. Siakam can just do so many things on the basketball court on both ends, and he did it all against the Dubs. You've got a guy like Marc Gasol playing center. Didn't really want to leave the Memphis Grizzlies then in a midseason trade, but his defensive experience and tremendous passing skills unlocked a lot of things on both ends of the floor for the Raps. They gave Toronto kind of one more dimension, so tough and battle-hardened from his days in Memphis. Another guy with great experience in the playoffs, Serge Ibaka, who's had kind of this renaissance in the postseason, very revitalized in his role off the bench. Critical plays, though, all playoffs, especially, I thought, Game 7 against Philly, when everyone else was scared. He was Kawhi's one wingman, the one other guy kind of who didn't seem like the moment was too big for him, especially offensively. And without Serge, they don't get past the Sixers. So big props to Serge Ibaka. Big props to another guy off the bench who was making it rain from deep, Fred VanVleet. I call myself the captain of the Fan Fleet for many days in college because I loved watching this guy at Wichita State. He has just become a scoring spark plug off the bench. And, of course, what's talked about with VanVleet a lot since becoming a father, these playoffs, before he became a father, he was shooting 8 for 42 from three-point range, 19%. And then since he became a dad, 30 for 57, 53% in 3 wins against Milwaukee, and then the 4-2 record against the Warriors. Moral of the story, everyone should become a dad. And then mostly, of course, it's all about Kawhi Leonard and this legendary postseason run. Just look at these stats. He's the 6th player ever to score 700 points in a single postseason, joining Michael Jordan, LeBron, Hakeem, Allen Iverson, and Shaq. 14 30-point games. 8 of those came on the road. Over 30 points, 9 boards, 4 assists. One of 2 players now to win Finals MVPs on multiple teams, joining Kareem and LeBron in that department. And he had the signature moment that defined these playoffs, the Game 7, 4-bounce game winner at the buzzer to down the Sixers. I don't think it can be talked about enough how efficient offensively Kawhi is, how menacing defensively he can be. He can guard anyone. And one of the big talking points about these finals are going to be how Kawhi came in, in the trade over the offseason for DeMar DeRozan, and Masai Ujiri, the president of the Raptors, took a big risk. And he took a big risk getting rid of a fan favorite in DeRozan, also got rid of Jakob Poeltl, and he kind of flushed. It wasn't a true rebuild, obviously. They were kind of just retooling, along with the Marc Gasol trade mid-year, getting rid of Jonas Valanciunas for Gasol. But Ujiri took a risk, and I think maybe this could be the start of teams placing short-term priorities over long-term rebuilds. Who knows, next year with the Klay Thompson and KD injuries, which I want to talk about, Golden State won't be as dominant. Teams could be sacrificing years of their future for Anthony Davis or big-name free agents, whoever, Kyrie going to Brooklyn. I think that the moral of the story is the windows are so small. You can win, though, if you make these big splash moves. Like the Raptors, they fired their coach of the year last year, Dwayne Casey, brought in Nick Nurse, and sometimes it's just one little cog that sets the whole puzzle, moving correctly again. So moral of the story, maybe just to pull the trigger. Big props to Ujiri. Teams like Portland, I think about them and how consistent they've been for so long during the Damian Lillard era, but how consistent do they want to be? They finally made the conference finals this year, but mostly for them, it's first-round exits. It's getting to the conference semifinals. You got to take chances. You got to do it big. So props to Masai for pulling that off, and Kawhi, just what he did. This is one of the all-time greatest postseason performances of all time. I think right up there with LeBron's best, right up there with MJ's best. And Kawhi, he's well on his way, maybe a top 25, top 20 player already. Is that fair to say? I mean, where's Kawhi on the all-time pantheon now? Is he better than Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, those guys? He's certainly better than the Charles Barkley, Karl Malones, in my opinion. But that's a discussion. Then on the Golden State side, we have so many different subplots to unpack. You have the Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson injuries. All the respect in the world to Klay, who balled out, was typical Game 6 Klay. Walked to the locker room, though, after tearing his ACL, and then came back, hit 2 free throws on the torn ACL. Just listening to the crowd cheering for him, though, my heart would have been racing out of my chest. I don't know how he was calm enough to hit those free throws, let alone playing with the torn ACL. And then you obviously have all the KD ramifications. Could he miss all of the 2019-2020 season? Is he still going to go to the New York Knicks? I think this it shows how tough it is to sustain a championship team. At some point, the mileage is just too much. There's too much wear and tear. We've seen Kawhi now end 2 three-peat bids with the Heat and the Warriors. I think in the future, what this says is once a team wins 2 championships, bet the field. It's so hard to three-peat in the modern NBA, where the regular season is such a grind, 82 games where guys are giving it their all every night. For me, though, what this series in particular came down to, though, with KD being out, with Klay getting hurt in Game 6, Steph, who is one of the all-time greats, he just exponentially drops off when he's the only option. And it's not anything of his own doing, but because of his lack of strength, because of the lack of a physical presence in his game, the Raptors were really able to key in on him. The boxing one actually ended up working great, but just when you have Fred VanVleet getting physical with you, Danny Green, Kawhi able to switch on to anyone he wants, Curry, who's so good in transition, feasts when kind of opponents are on their back heels and all over the place. He feasts off of chaos, and Steph is one of the greatest shooters of all time when he's got a little bit of space, but the Raptors were able to hone in on him, and it's so tough for Curry when he's on the floor with guys like Alfonso McKinney and Quinn Cook and Jonas Jerebko and Kevon Looney. There's just not a whole lot of options. So I thought, after Clay left in Game 6, Steph only had 4 points on 1 for 6 shooting. It's kind of that whole box and one mantra. Raptors are going to shut down Steph at all costs and make the other guys beat him. And they didn't. The Warriors were very sloppy, especially in Game 6 with 17 turnovers, I think. Raptors took advantage of that. So, the Warriors, it's going to be a complete changing of the guard next year. It's hard not to feel at least some amount of empathy for the Warriors and their injuries. But at the same time, they have had the absolute best injury luck during the 3 title runs. I mean, 2015, every single point guard they go up against, whether it's Mike Conley, Patrick Beverley, Chris Paul, or Kyrie Irving, is either misses the whole series or part of the series with injuries. Then in 2018, Chris Paul again gets hurt in the conference finals, and so it comes and it goes. Injuries happen to everyone. I think about the Celtics and Lakers series back in 2008 and 2010. The Celtics won in 2008. Andrew Bynum was out, and then when Kendrick Perkins was out in 2010, the Lakers won. So, injuries happen to everyone, but honestly, I'm even more excited now for the summer and for next season because I think parity is finally going to return to the NBA. It's probably going to be a handful of teams, maybe 8 to 10 teams that come into the 2019-2020 year thinking they can actually win this title. And we're going to see some teams, like I said, pulling the trigger, making huge deals. Are the Lakers going to make a deal for Anthony Davis? Where are all the big-name free agents going to go? Kemba, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris. Clay, obviously, it's not a given he's going to return to the Warriors. You've got KD at the top of that domino mess. So lots to unpack. I just wanted to give kind of my rapid-fire thoughts. But definitely a big congratulations to the Toronto Raptors, to Drake, to the country of Canada. Again, the best jersey of all time. Shout out Vinsanity. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Whether it's about the Raptors, the Warriors, the offseason, that's going to be crazy. I'm definitely going to have more videos coming up on the free agency frenzy that is nearly upon us. I'm very excited for it. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media. Give me a comment, thumbs up, and yeah, thank you so much. Cheers.